From translation, NKJV New King James Version, this 152 day of the year, today we are reading passages, Job 1-4 Job chapter 1, verses 1 to 22. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was blameless and upright, and one who feared God and shunned evil. And 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. Also his possessions were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a very large household, so that this man was the greatest of all the people of the East. Now his sons went and held a feast in their houses, each on his appointed day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. So it was, when the days of feasting had run their course, that Job would send and sanctify them, and rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus Job did regularly. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, around his household, and around all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But now stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has is in your power, only do not lay a hand on his person." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Now there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And a messenger came to Job and said, "The oxen were ploughing, and the donkeys feeding beside them, when the Sabaeans raided them and took them away. Indeed, they have killed the servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another also came and said, "The fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another also came and said, "The Chaldeans formed 3 bands, raided the camels and took them away, yes, and killed the servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another also came and said, "Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and suddenly a great wind came from across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell on the young people, and they are dead. And I alone have escaped to tell you." Then Job arose, tore his robe, and shaved his head, and he fell down to the worship and said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." In all this Job did not sin nor charge God with wrong. Job chapter 2, verses 1 to 13 again. There was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil? And still he holds fast to his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him without cause." So Satan answered the Lord and said, "Skin for skin. Yes, all that a man has he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will surely curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, he is in your hand, but spare his life." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord, and struck Job with painful boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. And he took for himself a piece of pottery to scrape himself while he sat among the ashes. Then his wife said to him, "Do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die." But he said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Shall we indeed accept good from God, and shall we not accept adversity?" In all this Job did not sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this adversity that had come upon him, each one came from his own place, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. For they had made an appointment together to come and mourn with him, and to comfort him. And when they raised their eyes afar off, but did not recognize him, they lifted their voices and wept. And each one tore his robe and sprinkled dust on his head toward heaven. So they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was very great. Job chapter 3, verses 1 to 26. After this Job opened his mouth, and cursed the day of his birth. And Job said, "May the day perish on which I was born, and the night which said, A male child is conceived. may that day be darkness, may God above not seek it, nor the light shine upon it. May darkness and the shadow of death claim it, may a cloud settle on it, may the blackness of the day terrify it. As for that night, may thick darkness seize it, may it not rejoice among the days of the year. May it not come into the number of the months. Oh, may that night be barren, may no joyful voice come into it. May those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to raise up Leviathan. May the stars of its morning darken. May it look for light, but have none, nor see the dawning of the day, because it did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hide sorrow from my eyes. Why did I not die at birth, come forth from the womb, expire? Why did the knees receive me, or why the breasts that I should nurse? For now I would have lain down and been quiet, I would have been asleep. Then I would have been at peace, with kings and counselors of the earth, who built ruins for themselves, or with princes who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was I not hidden like a stillborn child, like infants who never saw light? There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary are at rest. The prisoners are at ease together, they do not hear the voice of the taskmaster. The small and the great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden, and whom God has hedged in? For my sighing comes instead of my bread, and my groanings are poured out like water. For something which I hope for waits for me at the end, and my hope is for my appointment. Is not my help in me? And is success driven far from me? For my days are vanity, without hope, and I perish with my desire. For my flesh is clothed with worms and clods of dust. My skin is broken and become loathsome. My days have passed, my purposes are broken off, even the thoughts of my heart. Job chapter 4, verses 1 to 21. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, If one ventures to speak with you, will you be grieved? But who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, you have instructed many, and you have strengthened the weak hands. Your words have upheld him who was stumbling, and you have strengthened the feeble knees. But now it comes to you, and you are impatient. It touches you, and you are troubled. Should not your reverence be your confidence, and your integrity your hope? Remember now who ever perished, being innocent, or where were the upright ever destroyed? As I have observed, those who plough iniquity and sow trouble reap the same. By the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of his anger they are consumed. The roar of the lion, the voice of the fierce lion, and the teeth of the young lions are broken. The old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered abroad. Now a word was secretly brought to me, and my ear received a whisper of it. Amid disquieting thoughts from the visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, fear came upon me and trembling, which made all my bones shake. Then a spirit passed before my face, the hair on my flesh stood up. It stood still, but I could not discern its form. A figure was before my eyes. Then I heard a whispering voice, saying, Can mortal man be just before God? Or can a man be pure before his Maker? If he puts no trust in his servants, if he charges his angels with error, how much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust? They are crushed before a moth, they are destroyed from morning till evening, they perish forever, with no one regarding it. Does not their own excellence witness against them, that they have dealt proudly, not wisely?